Hello, folks. We had a little bit of a slow setup, because I have a single brain cell, and it's vying for 6th place. Today is episode 6 of the Wednesday Wool Gathering, but technically episode 2 since we decided to call it Wool Gathering. But that is besides the point. Today I have with me Elenin and Shadow, being played by Wolf and Melody, respectively. Go ahead and say hi.
Hello, everyone. How are you today?
Elenin? Are you there, my boy? Hello?
I think he rolled for stealth. He might have ducked out.
Yeah, I think you rolled too high on his stealth. I think it's just you and me, Melody. I don't see Wolf here anywhere. What do you mean? There's no Wolf. Where did he go? Where did he go? He's gone.
Just wait till I can get a few feats. I might
I
might be able to find him eventually.
I just hit him on the overlay. He's not there. I'll put him back up once he's back. When you hear him speak again.
Fine by me.
Okay. So, with that being the case, that means we're gonna be a little limited on speaking points for the moment. But before I get started into my questions, because you know that shit's gonna take a while, is there anything you, Melody, would like to ask me, or do you just want to get right into the stuff that I've got?
So, for the most part, I do have a little bit of a question. I've been trying to get to know everybody's character, and Shadow's been trying to fill the way everybody is with, like, their attitudes and stuff. And the one he's had the hardest time getting close to seems to be your character specifically.
Yeah.
Mostly due to the fact that your character comes off a bit harsh in tone, and usually, so he feels, jumps the guns on certain situations. But he doesn't understand your character yet, so my question would be, how are you playing this character?
How am I playing this character? So, as you've noticed, excuse me, I got a little sick feeling in my chest a little bit. That's weird. But how I'm playing this character? Well, in the last talks that we had, we went over heavily on the mindsets of each of our characters, and Aloria is how to put it, a very complicated animal. So yes, she is aggressive, and she is impulsive, and she speaks when it comes to when she's pissed off about something, like what you saw with what happened with Eric and us being at the top of
bridge part. Yes,
that was her basically. And you've heard her speak before. She does have, a proper vocabulary, but when she gets that pissed off, she like kind of devolves in her language to very vulgar, just very aggressive language.
Like as a druid, she kind of goes. Would feral be a right word for that?
Not feral, but of course we were backed into a corner. Oh god. Oh. I'm gonna.
Are you good?
I think so. I'm not gonna eat any more of that right now. I'm gonna just
put that aside.
I just had a little bit of fish, and it's probably the milk. The milk is probably what's fucking me up right now. Okay, hopefully that doesn't bite me in the ass later. But, anyways, God.
I think Fell's in the other room having a stroke. He'll be fine.
Okay. I think I'm good. I'm just gonna have to be not super loud.
That's good.
So, the way Aloria is, like you've noticed, she is, she can be aggressive, and her mood swings, pretty drastically. But that's a part of her character.
Okay.
Jesus Christ. I don't know if I'm gonna be okay. I'm all of a sudden getting really, really sick in the stomach.
Well, do what you can, and if we need to take a short intermission for you to fix yourself, we can do that. That's what intermissions are for.
It's like something is fighting to get out of my stomach, and I don't like it. Anyways, yeah. So I had salmon, and I started drinking a glass of milk. That's all I had, Arch. I don't know what's going on with my body right now. Anyways, yeah, Aloria's mood can swing pretty drastically, depending on how stressful a situation is, or just depending on the contents of that situation. Like, you've seen her perfectly calm and collected before, like when we were in Kinkuma, Fell's home. And like, she was very calm in the way she was asking her questions, and kind of in a sense interrogating him and trying to find out what the hell is going on with everything that's happening. But then in other occasions, like even with other members, like, she gets aggressive. Like the first day that we had all met, or maybe it was the day after, we were trying to come up with a plan to get into Khan's estate. And when Shadow was being really vague with the information he had, she basically like got pissed off at him and said, speak plainly or not at all. Like, she and now as time has been going on, she's been getting a little bit better with the members of the group. Now it's she definitely still is in a mindset where she isn't quite sure what to think of most of the group, Shadow included. The two people that she thinks she has a pretty good I guess beat on would be Fellwolf and Arya, but Arya to a lesser extent. And as
yeah,
you've
that
seen,
Jim. All right.
And as you've seen, Aloria has kind of, to a small degree, opened up a little bit towards Fellwolf. Not necessarily because she trusts him, though. I mean, it's not like the way that she sees the group, it's not that she's distrustful of everyone. For most of the people, she's indifferent about. She isn't like necessarily suspicious of. It's more so just that she, like I said, just doesn't trust a lot of them. But Fellwolf, more than any of the other members, has kind of given off this vibe and this energy of how he is, this kind of big brotherly feel, and that unconsciously kind of in her brain, it makes him easier to like interrogate and like pick at, like this, to see what his brain is like this most recent like our past session where she was talking to him about like how much did he believe in the path that he was walking and becoming the clan head, despite the implications it has for his father.
Yeah. And
they had a little bit of a heart-to-heart where Fellwolf in turn kind of played an Uno reverse card and started picking at her stuff and like started to like unravel her threads a little bit. But she, as far as the way her personality works, she is, and I stated this the last talks, or the last Wool Gathering, she's not fully grown up yet. She may be physically an adult, but mentally she's not there yet. And that's for a reason that should more of her past come to light, it'll be something that'll you'll come to understand. But basically the personality that you've seen of her, it's like the brooding, angsty teenager kind of deal, where it's like she's like, sure, she's a part of this group, but she's kind of like separated from everyone. Like even Arya has more of a kind of a connection to the other characters, like just as far as like socially, than Eloria does. Despite the kind of the, I guess, lack of dialogue that she's had. Most of her, Arya's dialogue has been with either Fel or myself, but she, out of the two of us, is definitely more sociable. But the reason that she is more, I guess, willing to have those conversations with Fel, to try and like pick at him and basically kind of question his view on things and why he does what he does, and his feelings, is because, and this has been a huge theme throughout the past couple of episodes, is the the light and dark in places and people, and how it affects what they do. Eloria primarily is of a darker mindset, and as you've heard her tell Gil before, from a player standpoint, and even Fel to an extent, she has said that she's tried to cast out light from her soul, and that because of the pain that she felt of losing her family, she basically said, screw forming bonds with other people, and she stopped caring about it. When Fel came along, pretty early in, she recognized the kind of individual that Fel was, and so, and it didn't have a huge impact on anything super early on, but now, after knowing him, after traveling with it for a few months and getting into this conflict within the East, it's basically her realizing that Felwolf represents the light and the compassion that she left behind a long time ago, and that's subconsciously in her brain, what Felwolf is to her. And so it's kind of twisted, the way that she deals with him, because it's her using him as a proxy to try and debate the light in her that's trying to come back up as a reaction to being around these people, and basically trying to find a way to physically and verbally combat it, to push it back down. And so that's why her attitude fluctuates. Like, what she does is she seems kind of unstable, because one moment she's cold and she's brooding. Another, she could be a little more sociable or show a little more like care towards the members of the group. And so I can understand how it would be very difficult to pin exactly what Eloria is, and to find a good opportunity to talk to her, or to find something to talk to her about, because Felwolf and Arya are really the only people who she has had meaningful interactions with thus far. But yeah, the way that she works, she is definitely more of a when she begins to lose her nerve, lose her cool, she becomes definitely much more of a exponentially primal individual. And I mean, you see it, in last session, she was snarling at Eric the whole time we were in that ambush. The whole time he was talking, she was like, "I want to kill him. I want to strangle him. I want to, I want to burn him and tear his throat. I want him dead." Basically, the only thing that stopped her from doing that was, the obvious realization that we're outnumbered 10 to fucking 1 out here. It would be a very, very bad idea.
Yeah, at that point, Shadow was just like, alright, I see the cards on the table, I see the options. I don't like any of these, so I'm going to take the option with the least resistance.
Yeah. Like, she was searching for any way to basically barrel through them or kill them. That's why I was asking Arch so many questions. I'm like, where are they in relation to the ledge? How close are we to the ledge? How many are there? That was me trying to figure out, can we feasibly kill some or get past them and try to get to Fel?
The moment I saw ninjas with like blow dart guns and we were surrounded on both sides, I was like, well, this is a lose-lose regardless. And then he came up with the whole ultimatum of, we can kill you and dump your bodies off. That's a no-go.
Yeah.
We can take you to them. First of all, they're going to take all of our gear, all of our weapons, and everything like
fuck that.
We're just going to be pretty much at their mercy at that point. Or we can take option 3, the bridge, and figure it out from there. See, I've watched a lot of anime in my time, and I thought about it realistically. I was like, I've dove off of a few bridges before. This'll probably hurt like a motherfucker, but I don't know if this is gonna kill us.
We'll probably live.
Let's find out.
Yeah, and I mean, we did. We all lived. Now, I got whacked in the face by Stolen, but we lived.
Oh, man. I can't believe you went with the front cover animal of all the animals.
Okay,
I mean, I understand.
So listen, so I basically, in that moment, I was like, wait, we're in water. I'm going to be at disadvantage for like basically any check as long as I remain in my normal form. And so I went to the, I just went to the druid page and I was like, okay, I needed to make sure that I could be an aquatic creature, which I could. And I was like, okay, what would be a non-aggressive aquatic creature that I could feasibly save somebody with? And I couldn't think of one in that moment. I was thinking of just going on and saying, hey, what are all the aquatic animals with this challenge rating that I can turn into? But I was like, you know what? Screw it. Crocodile. They're, strong creatures. They'd be able to lift a person above the water if they need to. And it's aquatic, and it says I can be it, so I'm gonna be it. Didn't even cross my fucking mind that Stolen was just gonna whack me in the head with this freaking war pick, because that shit hurted. Like,
I bet.
That was 12 points of damage.
The fact that he actually
he's
hit
back.
you, I was like, oh goodness.
Hey, oh, there he is.
Uncloaked. There we go.
Hey. He's back. Okay. So that entire moment, and then there's just the whining and complaining afterwards. That's also another thing about Aloria. That was definitely a the whiny teenager coming out. It's like, what the hell, man?
Shadow was at a loss with that due to the fact that he didn't get to see you in the shape form. He heard it and heard there was a commotion, but he didn't get to see it. So he was sitting there like confused, but he didn't want to ask about it.
Yeah, and then Stolen whips his insight check on what the hell I'm trying to get across. So I'm like, screw this. I'm just going to find Albert. And then I did. And then I'd honestly, okay, something that kind of miffed me a little bit was Arch not letting me fucking Heimlich him to get the water out of his lungs or like do something. Because it's like, He's drowning. What am I gonna do? Sit here and hold him? No, I'm gonna try and like, pump the water out of his lungs, even if I don't have a spell that can do that. And he's just like, nah, 18 in medicine, you can't do shit.
Death roll him till he breathes.
No, that's an even worse idea. Oh
You don't
my
have
God.
to bite him.
Well, I mean, I would kind of have to, because I was just holding him by his cloak, by his robes. I mean, and that was holding him up, sure. But if I want to death roll him, I'm gonna have to hold on to him, which is not a good idea, because death rolling somebody will kill them. That's why it's called a death roll.
Oh, he'll be fine. We were all fine.
Oh my God. Yes, death roll the sorcerer. That'll go very well.
Oh yes.
Um.
So, do you have any questions for Shadow? Or about Shadow?
So Shadow specifically? You know what? I actually do. I didn't write this down, but if something does come to mind. We haven't in the campaign yet, whether through your perspective or ours, really gotten a good idea of Shadow's thoughts on his whole situation being what we believe to be the heir to the head of the Snake Clan. Is that what it was? The Snake Clan?
Yeah, the Snake Clan.
And so I'm personally curious on how he's handling that, because that shit literally happened like maybe a week ago now.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering how that's affecting him.
So he's very put off by this. He's out of his comfort zone for sure. He was not expecting to hear anything about his father. He was hoping he could find out something like where his father was. And to come and find out that this fox has information that will cost the party thousands of gold is just absolutely astounding to him. He's like, okay, but why? And then the fact that it did get dropped and the information was given, he's sitting there like, what? What the hell? And he's just like, he wants to see his father. This is in the farthest reach of his mind. He wants to see his father. He wants to make that happen. But the way that he was brought up, he's now concerned that if he doesn't have the strength to back up his claim to this, regardless of if he's trying to claim it or if he's just trying to see his father will be disappointed with him and either off him or disown him. Probably the first one. But at this point, he has to find two things. He has to find his strength, and he has to find his proof. He thinks he has a little proof, but he knows that it's not enough. He's unsure. Because yes, he can say his mother's name. Yes, he can show that he's got a little bit of golden fur between his paw pads. He can show that. But the biggest tell would have been probably his tail. And at that point, we would have to figure out, would a restoration spell work? Would it be possible to regrow the tail? These are all questions we still need to figure out. And he's so unsure at this point that he's been thinking of little to nothing else but this. And in Fell, he actually confided, before the whole fight, irony by the way, that we need to get stronger if we are to move on and find ourselves the heads of these clans. If this were to happen, we need to strengthen ourselves and our resolves. Which then we got ambushed and he had to do that 1v1 freaking samurai
Oh
duel to the
yeah,
death.
dude.
Yeah.
I when it was hitting,
that was going down.
my heart was fucking going insane that entire fight because I was so afraid because like this is the dude that was going toe to toe with Mao, and like Mao almost killed him, yeah, but he was still putting Mao on the back foot, and so realizing that fella has to now 1v1 this asshole, with bad, and the only reason he got through was because he had that cursed armor that kept him from dying. And honestly, when it was getting to the point where like they were all missing each other so freaking much, I'm like, this is just more chances for him to die. And once he got hit and used the half orc rage, what was it called, like relentless endurance or something?
Yes.
And when he popped that, and then he got hit, I was like, my heart literally just fucking cracked in half, and I started crying. I was shedding actual tears. I was like,
You were crying?
I
Wow.
was fucking crying. I was like, no, this can't be happening. Not this early in the fucking campaign, and not to him of all people. Like we cannot be doing this right now. And so I cried. I actually did. And then freaking Arch pulls out that literal plot armor that he that he had. And I'm like, you motherfucker, you son of a bitch. I was, and during like the first half of that fight, my heart was beating so fast, so freaking rapidly, and like my brain was going at 1,000 miles an hour. I was beginning to get lightheaded. Like I was actually starting to feel faint. I'm not even kidding. It was fucking me up, man. It was
Well, I
really
think
messing me up.
Arch is going to be happy to hear that. Honestly, he's put so much love and work into this campaign, and we trudged through the first version of this, and I honestly think that will make him happy to hear that
Yeah.
because he's put so much love into this.
And not just into the world, but also tying our characters into the world.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, you look at it, out of our party, Fel, Elenan, and Shadow all are freaking massive targets in this area. I mean, I'm not so much because I'm the second born son.
Yeah.
Third born, but second born son.
You're still in line.
Yeah. So it's like I still have a bit of a target. However, out of everybody, I can get out pretty easily. Like I literally looked at it. It was like, if, like he said there were more people there, but if it was only the people that actually had tokens on the field, I could have easily gotten out.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like I literally could have run past, only gotten through one of them, attacked him, and then he can't attack me with opportunity attacks, and all of a sudden I'm out.
Yep.
Yeah. And speaking of that scene where the Oda clan cornered you and Fel, what were Ellen's thoughts? Like what was going through his head during that entire scene where the Oda clan walked up? They all started like revealing themselves and and basically revealing the history of the Oda clan and how it was basically this other branch of the Star Strider family.
It's another branch of the Wolf clan.
Oh, the Wolf clan.
Yeah, which is the one that, if you look on the world map, protects the southern border of them. So I was looking at it, I was like, I mean, I wouldn't know about this shit, obviously, but as a person, I saw those tokens down there, and I was like, oh, those are going to be the mysterious samurai again. Elenan might think of it. He probably would. Freaking, you look at him and he's not the most trusting, and he looks for people that are looking for a fight. Because, in my backstory, I actually, when I was just a regular sailor, part of the Navy, we were attacked by pirates. I was the one that found out, because they essentially did a night raid trying to steal stuff from our ship in the middle of the night, and I was the one that figured out what was going on and led a counterattack, and almost died. But at the same time, I'm also a Star Strider, so I have kind of like I still believe in honor, but not entirely.
Well, I mean, you are a rogue.
Yeah. And Bill and I talked about it, and it was like, my character's a rogue, but at the same time, my character's built as kind of like a striker. Like I can do combat.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna be able to take the most hits, but
you can still scrap with them.
yeah. So I was looking at that. I was like, I don't know if I would know as a character that these guys are gonna be them. I know my passive perception would probably be enough to tell that these guys were armed, but at the same time, walked in there and then all of a sudden there's a bunch of smoke and it's just like, oh, yep, can't see shit. Walk back out. I'm just gonna keep my eye on everything.
Alrighty. Going on to something not quite so dramatic, but still a great moment nonetheless. I personally adored this moment. The moment that Arya had with Albert when Fel had made the fish that Stolen caught, he had cooked it, and Arya had sat down next to Albert and basically asked him to describe the fish to her. I was like, I literally, I felt in my heart. I was like, oh, that's so cute. That I love that. But what did you guys think of that moment? Because I personally absolutely loved that moment.
I thought it was a pretty good moment. I personally was like, all right, well, this is definitely an improvement over the last meal, and definitely a better reaction to this.
Mm-hmm.
So I thought it was a pretty good moment. Shadow himself was still dealing with his own issues at that point in time, but he noticed the improvement too, and it kind of cheered him up.
Alrighty. And also, and following that, I have to bring this up. The jokes, the damn jokes that freaking Phil Wolf and Stolen decided they were gonna throw back and forth at each other. I mean, you can probably already guess how Aloria felt about that shit. But what about you guys? Did you like that, or did you like those jokes, and like, do you think that should be something that they or we do more of, is like have those moments, or are you more of a fan of just like the down to earth, wanting to keep things kind of calm?
So I do love my serious scenarios, and I feel that there should be a mix of the two here and there, of humor and seriousness, to kind of keep a balance of the whole yin and yang sort of thing. And it keeps the adventures pretty fun. I personally loved it. I'm the fan of good puns, dad jokes, anything that makes people cringe, sigh, or laugh.
Mm-hmm.
I am all game for.
Dead baby.
And honestly, I have previous information that, since I know pretty much 3 of us IRL, kind of gives me information and insight into how their characters act. And honestly, it's on point. I love it. I'd like to hear more of it, personally. I don't think Shadow will be telling many jokes, personally, but he definitely likes to hear them.
You can probably guess that Laura's not gonna be telling any jokes. She's not. She's not a joking person. Though Ellen and I can probably imagine will throw some around here and there. And just knowing Wolf, he won't be able to resist at some points. I can guarantee it.
Well, also keep this in mind. Belle and I have been friends for like 7 years now.
Yeah, yeah. Oh my god.
Although Shadow, you might be the tail of the joke here sometimes.
Ah, yes, the butt of the joke.
Oh my god.
Now there's a telltale sign.
Oh no. No, it's already begun. Listen, we're not even at the session yet, so you gotta save these for the session, guys.
Look, my humor's at hand. We've got this.
Okay. All right. So now this part definitely definitely surprised me. But when Gil showed up again and decided to give Eloria, Stolen, and Albert a boost, so what were Ellen and Shadow's initial reactions and thoughts to Eloria basically pulling Super Mario Sunshine up the damn cliff face all the way up to the top of the pillar, just rocket nuzzled all the way up?
Kind of reminds me of one of those ethereal spell, not ethereal, angelic spells where an angel casts it and it turns into this like orb of feathers and blasts off and just teleports somewhere at high speeds.
I mean, wizards can do that.
But to Shadow's lack thereof of magic, he finds it very intriguing. He was curious as to why you've done it, but and this is because he's withheld. He was unsure whether he should ask about it or not because he doesn't know enough about magic, and he hasn't really had a good spot to like talk to your character yet. So he's still on this ground of, should I say something or shouldn't I? So he lets everybody else act first. He's more of a thinker. But he does act.
He is the one that is like silent for discussions, and then at the end he's like brings his hat forward, so to speak.
More or less. And this is a strange character for me because I've played a younger variant of this character before. He was kind of mouthy. He wasn't rude by any means, but he was a little ornery with the enemies, and he was very happy-go-lucky. This one seems withheld, constantly thinking, trying to plan things out.
Oh, I feel like
Ellen
I
doesn't
should
know
know
jack shit about magic, so it's like, okay.
Well, of course, then there was Arya was like, man, why didn't you do that shit before? I was like, well, that wasn't me, buddy. That was that was something else. Honestly, when Arj was describing that scene, I was like, oh shit, this is so cool. This is the kind of shit why I like playing a magic user in D&D, is being able to like be the catalyst for stuff like that to happen. It's so cool.
Do you know what that actually reminds me of? Were you a big fan of the Zelda games back in the day?
Oh yeah. I mean, I haven't played a whole lot of the old ones, but I am a huge fan of Zelda.
Majora's Mask. Did you play that one?
A tiny bit.
Do you remember using the owl statues to teleport?
Yes.
That's what that reminded me of.
It does. It actually does. And actually, in a greater sense, I think it kind of reminds me of Wind Waker, using the I forget what it's called, the one that lets you cyclone around places.
Oh yes. The little song with the what? It's the tool the conductor uses.
The Wind Waker.
Is it the Wind?
It's literally called the Wind Waker.
Okay.
It is called the Wind Waker.
The item is called the Wind Waker. But I was trying to use the item's name, the like the conductor's wand thing.
Yeah, I think it's just called the conductor's baton.
Probably. But yeah, I get where that is. That, yeah.
Yeah, when I was thinking about it earlier, I was like, the first thing that came to mind when I thought about the actual like what happened, I was like, man, that kind of reminds me of Mario Sunshine with the rocket nozzle just shooting straight up that high.
Yeah.
Oh.
Mm.
So let's bring it back to kind of the end, the tail end of, no pun intended, but the tail end of the session. When we caught up with Fel and basically saw him sitting around a table with the Oda clan. What are Elenin and Shadow's opinions on this this truce that Fel has negotiated with the Oda clan? Are they opposed to it? Do they think it's a good idea? Do they think that we should just continue to see the Oda as enemies? What are they thinking?
Well, if you'd like to go first, Elenan, you can.
No, go ahead.
All right. The major problem that comes to my mind is the fact that Shadow hasn't had enough information on these individuals other than the fact that they were hostile. The fact that he came up, saw Elenan, was really confused by that. As he was running over to Fel, he instinctively drew his weapons because he wasn't sure whether it was going to be combat or not. Elenan told him to sheath them, which was a little odd to him, but regardless, he sheathed his weapons. As we ran past all of these guards, which he would be looking left, looking right, looking around at all of these guards, wondering, okay, what happened? As he gets there and then just sees this truce with this person laying dead on the ground, he would just pause and kind of just take in the scene to figure out, almost kind of like Batman style.
Yeah, like go full detective.
Just figuring out what happened here before anybody even speaks. That's the mode, the mindset he's going into. And he just drops and goes, huh, okay. Without even really saying or doing anything, he would try to get a better hold on this, which as of right now, he wouldn't have a definite opinion. But me as a player, oh man, what a battle that was. And honestly, hopefully this will go better than what I'm thinking it will, because mind you, previous experience with this campaign has led me down weird paths. We're just gonna hope for the best. We're gonna hope for the best and go for gold.
I think that's really all we can do.
Man. Arch has a way of making me question myself every time I play a character. Is it the right choice? Is it? It's the good choice. Yeah, I would go out of my way, but is it the right choice? Always with the questioning my own actions.
This is why you should play a morally great character, so you don't have to think so hard.
I am. With Shadow this time, I actually am. This is my first time going a morally gray character. I am usually the good / lawful. That's just the type of role I like to play because that's me as a person.
Mm-hmm.
I've tried going the evil route before. My character got killed by one of the players.
I'm not talking evil, I'm just talking neutral, morally gray. Understanding when, you can't always do the good thing.
Yeah.
Sometimes you have to do the either the questionable or just, neutral thing that doesn't, help anybody but yourselves.
Yeah. So, We'll see where it goes for now. But if that helps, that's my answer.
Alrighty. Did we already have an answer for Ellen, or is Ellen? Do you still have to? Ellen?
I mean, just with everything happening, I was sitting there thinking, like, oh, these guys are essentially just trying to take over. It's,
Mm-hmm.
what a lot of people would want to do, because people want power. And I didn't think of badly of them for it. I just was like, it kind of made me question why they wanted to do it like this. So, see what else was going on here. Outside of character, we kind of got some information on that. So, it's one of those things where it raises more questions. Politics of the world and whatnot. But,
I know personally, I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan of just letting these guys walk away, especially since they're the ones responsible for the Anubai, for what happened to the Anubai. I mean, for all we know, they committed genocide.
I mean, we did kill the guy that did that.
I mean, yeah, we killed the guy that performed the act, but the clan, the leader, they're like, eh. They just don't think anything of it, and that is that's where the problem lies. Is they, sure, after the fact they're like, oh, it was his own doing, it was whatever, but I don't buy that shit. I mean, the head of a clan is responsible for his clan's actions. A leader is responsible for the actions of his subordinates. So there's definitely responsibility on his head, which is why I am incredibly averse to negotiating with these guys at all.
Definitely understand that.
Especially since they're allied with what was that name? Auditore and Eric. Yeah, because I mean that motherfucker got Arya's sword. Like, are we just gonna look over that small bit there?
I wasn't about to let that go, but I kind of got sidelined because they were doing a story thing, and I was like, damn, I was about to be like, hey, that doesn't belong to you.
Yeah, that session, that's definitely something we're gonna have to to latch on to and confront him about, because that shit ain't his, and it shouldn't be used. Let's see. I'm trying to think. Okay, well, I guess we're winging it from here. I really didn't prepare that well for this one. Big Sag. In any case, so since we're on the topic of kind of the ending scene in the room, and kind of going back to Shadow's kind of confusion regarding Eloria's demeanor, did he think it strange, considering how she's acted before, how she reacted when she saw Fel? Basically was the first one to rush to his side.
He did actually find that odd. He was at kind of an awe about it. Out of everybody there to rush to his side, it was her, and he thought, well, you know what? Maybe he's moving her heart a little bit. It's a good thing. I can't say that he thought too much on it because of the whole trying to detective the room, but that's definitely something that caught his attention. There were 3 things specifically in that room that caught his attention. First off was the individual with the sword, because once that was stated, that is definitely something that catches his eye. Secondly, Fel would have been a big concern of him, making sure he's okay would have been a first priority. So the fact that she was over there comforted him a little bit. And the third part would have been the whole looking over the room, seeing what happened, and getting kind of like an idea of who this person was that was fallen, more or less.
Yeah.
Also, Arch is in chat. He's taking a short break. If we have any questions for him.
Well, if you want, go ahead and pop in here. I mean, I've got your avatar set up, so it's not in a weird spot or anything. So if you want to hang out here for a bit, that's cool. But I guess if you want to type it in chat, that's okay too. First question, as the oh, there you are. Awesome. So first question for you, Arch. What the fuck, man? What?
That's
What?
not a question.
So what? So why? Oh God, I don't even know how to begin.
Why is a question.
Why?
Why?
Why the fuck? So when you were setting up this encounter, when you were setting up the encounter for us, in Xiao Now, did you intend for us? Rather, did you plan on us being separated as you were? Did you think that Fel was going to go off on his own like that, or were you planning for us to all be together?
I had plans for either way. Never planned for any specific outcome. I give myself a series of events that, regardless of your decisions, will more than likely happen.
Yeah.
So that I can adjust the moments between. Most things, believe it, is just like I have A, B, C. Your job that you're trying to do is get to C. And I'm like, all right, B will happen regardless of whatever path that they will take. B is this modular point that they will have to hit before they can get to C. So, I kind of worked with that. That I knew, and you could kind of tell from the title of the episode where it was our foes, my family.
Yeah.
That kind of pointed towards, not all of them do, like the episode previous, but that kind of pointed towards that B section, that like this is the point in which they will have to hit for it to continue to see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and here's another question for my personal thing. Did you intend for Gil to appear this episode, or was that just an opportune moment that you decided you were going to take to kind of throw him in there? Because honestly, I wasn't expecting to see him again for a very, very long time. So seeing him again so soon after maybe 2 sessions, it kind of threw me off a bit. So I was just wondering.
I don't know.
Ooh, more enigma.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You're the one who makes this shit.
Sometimes things happen. Sometimes they're planned. Sometimes they're not. I mean, for this one, explaining it would either ruin the dazzle behind it or increase it, and I'm not going to do that. I'm just gonna.
I guess that's too meta.
Touching that one.
Let the mystery be a mystery.
It's too meta, man.
Your whole thing with Gil, as I've seen as sitting behind the screen, is that the individual is to you a mystery, and me explaining if I knew that he was going to be there or not, or if I planned him showing up, begins to fade away that mystery for you as a player. And so if I explain it to you further, it ruins that whole aspect your character's response to them is, because I don't doubt your ability to role play. I more along those lines doubt your authenticity of it.
You doubt my ability to not metagame. Feels good, man. I mean, you didn't answer the question in character either. So
He didn't.
He
He
didn't
didn't
even-
answer the character.
So
I
you
wouldn't
basically gave the
answer.
exact same answer in character as you just gave now. So it's like
Yeah.
man, I can't
That should have been
win.
your hint. Yeah, should have been your hint right there. It's like, why are you here? Mm.
I don't know, because you are what? It's like that's okay. You don't need to know.
I think his phrase was, you don't understand yet.
Yeah, I was like, I don't understand, and he's like, you're not meant to, not yet. I'm like, okay, you're gonna hit me with one of those lines. Cool. This, I'm still not sure what Gil exactly is. I'm still under the assumption either he is like a mortal reached godhood, or he's an archfey of some sort. Similar.
An archfey, that would be a that would be something.
It
hinting
would
at
be
his name there.
something. It would be very something, wouldn't it? Now, if he was an archfey, that bodes very ill, because archfey, they're not very, generally not very selfless individuals. They generally try to exploit, whether for fun or for personal gain. So, if he's an archfey, then we gotta be
There's
freaking wary
something
of
he's
him.
gaining out of this that
There's
we don't know about
something.
yet.
There's something that he's gaining.
I mean,
And considering
I will
that
say,
he said he has a garden, it's like, wonder
well,
where.
upon leaving you for the first time, he did say he has waited for you a long time.
I know, and that's what I was talking with Felwolf about. I was like the session, literally the next session. I was like, I have no idea, what that means, and if it means that, then the why of it doesn't make sense. I literally told him there's nothing about me that would make me stand out among other druids, let alone the rest of the world. So it's like, I don't know why this is happening to me. I'm incredibly wary of it. I mean, he seems great for right now. But it's basically why Loria, despite his his aid to her, is like, I don't know, if I can trust you yet. You're just kind of here, whenever I'm, in a certain state of mind. I mean, the first time he showed up was when she was contemplating how she felt about the group, and about her own, basically the feelings in her own soul, in her own heart, and then again when basically she was sitting here exhausted, no efficient way up this cliff face to where Fel and Eleanor were now, for all she knew, up against 30 plus warriors by themselves. She was basically, it was that feeling of helplessness. And it was like she was having a hard time dealing with that, and I was like messing her up. And then he popped up again, so it's like, okay, you seem to show up every time I'm under some sort of stress, major distress, whether it be,
Maybe you just need to go see a shrink.
a shrink.
That's funny coming from you. Those are some wise words. Listen to this, man.
Oh my god.
Man, like maybe your character just needs to see a shrink. Whenever they're super stressed out, whenever they're exhausted mentally or in some form of emotional anguish, Gil appears. There's a possibility that it's all in your head, and there's hints that it's not.
Physical things are happening. It's not all up in my head. I know it's not.
You can magically make things.
It's not how druids work, dude. We don't just,
Yes, it is.
We don't just magically make. Druidcraft can't make.
Has actually been visible to anyone else. No one else saw the flower. No one else saw the crystal. No one else saw Gil.
Right, Gil only appears to me. That part is believable enough. Apparitions appearing and only certain people can see them. Sure, I'll accept it. But writing it off as all in my head, or this manifestation, of something that's trying to push my mind or my soul in a direction, and is like empowering me. I don't believe that shit. I don't believe that a hallucination, something that generally wouldn't have a physical effect on me, would allow me to just summon this gust of wind to carry myself and two other people up a cliff face. That's not how that works.
I didn't say you summoned a gust of wind.
I became a gust of wind through the crystal. The crystal imbued me with fucking wind or whatever.
So what are some things that some higher casters can do?
They can turn into elementals. Well, at least druids can. Circle of the Moon druids can do that. They can become elementals.
More than just Circle of Moon druids can turn into elementals. In any form, you just have to know a specific spell.
I mean, there is the spell, the mist form spell. There is that.
There's polymorph. There's true polymorph. There's other things that I don't think. I do know that polymorph determines a certain aspect, but there are other druidic circles. There are druids themselves and other things that can transform into elementals of some kind. So I'm not. You've not done anything that is outside of your scope of potential power.
Well, it's outside of the scope of my power as I stand right now.
Yeah, true. But I mean, who's to say that in this style of campaign, druids actually have to practice it as anything? They don't. It's not like you go out and you sit there and learn rituals and things like that. They come to you. They happen. They're gifted upon you through nature.
Well, right, but a druid still has to nurture that bond with nature to be able to do those things. As Aloria stands, she's not. I mean, if we're going based, purely on if we're assuming level means like the amount, the strength of the connection you have with your source of power, which would be nature. She is, she's got a good connection. I mean, she can use these powers that she's been using, but not to the extent that she had just done so on that cliff face.
To defend myself for one final time, you have learned from Felwolf that they don't have druids in these lands. Yeah. So how would this nature, the aspect of nature here, change or affect a druid in and of it themselves?
A druid that hasn't grown up, in that land.
Yeah. The world here is, as you've seen many times before, as you sat down and you take it in the nature around you, is extremely different. It's as if it's been unaffected by the landscape around it in some regions.
Mm-hmm.
Or unaffected by the hands of mortals in some regions.
Right.
So maybe this pure connection is more overwhelming compared to your ability to tap into it. It'd be like charging a car with a nuclear reactor.
Calm down, Arch.
You might have the correct amps and the plugs and everything, but something somewhere is gonna pop.
Yeah. That actually puts a neat idea into my head. You saying that.
The whole point for me is to do that. Or it could just be leading you farther and farther away from the actual truth. Who knows?
You could be. I fucking hate you.
But continue to ask questions. I'll take them from anybody.
I mean, you are right that the East is far more of a balanced land than anywhere else in Itis. So it stands to reason that having that balance, it would be easier for a druid or a shaman to commune, or at least have a connection, a stronger connection to nature, whether they realize it themselves or not. And perhaps with what Gil was saying that he's waited for so long, that the only way I could have encountered him is because of the state that the East is in, the way that nature is there, the balance that it is in there compared to the kind of like tailored and manufactured attempt to balance out nature over in the West. That's an idea.
Maybe you're the messiah for the new wave of druids. Who knows?
God, don't put chosen one bullshit on me. Do not do that.
As the whole group is a group of chosen ones, but for different things.
Dude, literally, we got head of Snake Clan, head of Wolf Clan. We've got friggin' Arya, like the only good turn terror. Who the hell knows what Stolen and Albert's deal is? Same with Elenan. We don't know anything about Elenan. Oh God.
Yeah.
And then we got my angsty ass. What? I'm right. Loria's angsty as fuck.
No, yeah, I found it funny.
Look, I'm not gonna sit here and pretend that I haven't created an angsty teenager of a character. That's exactly what I've created, and that was basically kind of what I had in mind from the start. Now, as far as how often outbursts are, they happen a little more often than I thought they would, just based on what's been happening around us. I thought I would get more chances to be like cold and like deadpan, but y'all don't give me that opportunity with the way y'all do things. Like either Fell is running, being a hard head, or people are getting the shit kicked out of them, and I have to save their ass. Yeah. Or both.
Yeah. I do have a question for you, Arch.
Yeah, what's your question?
Humor me on this. The nat 20 roll I had on perception that you rewarded me with seeing a little bit of golden fur between my paws. I'm not certain that was going to be something you were going to give to me right then. Were you hesitant on giving me that information, or was that something that you thought necessary for that moment in time?
Well, I knew that aspect was always going to be on you. I knew what I did in your backstory when I cut off your tail. I kind of had that one singular thing that worked towards that, and there is, in some regard, some other identifiers. It's highly unlikely that any coat of a creature that has fur is going to have a singular patch of one color and not be able to be seen anywhere else. And so I was like, okay, so something on the end of your tail. Where else would there be a very faint or unknown or unthought of marker location? And I was like, fuck it, Paul.
Yeah.
And because it's not like you're gonna look at your feet, and I don't think your character actually wears boots. I think we established that you wear like these
Wraps. Wraps.
greaves or wraps. And so I was like, there would be highly unlikely that any fur would remain down there that isn't changed or dyed by the sheer fact that you've been walking.
Yeah.
So.
True enough.
But you said it at that moment, it was not planned. You looked at your hand when you said that, and you searched it. I mean, I can't deny the specific details of that roll, so it's not like you saw nothing. And then you roll a 15 later in the campaign, and you're like, oh, well, I see this. No, that wouldn't have worked.
Yeah.
I know that I would have been caught for some BS on that part.
Yeah.
The whole thing that threw me towards looking at my hand is what that mother freaking merchant did. He looked at my paw. He asked for my paw, and I was like, all right. Well, there's two things that are about to happen. I'm either about to lose my paw or there's something on there. And him as a character, he'd be like, all right, what's going on? And then the whole mysterious information starts coming out of he wants to charge me an asinine amount of money, not just me, the party, for information on his father. And he's like, oh fuck, I touched a no subject. And then I remembered that nod. He hit me with the same line, that freaking crypt, back when we were dealing with the manor in like episode 3, I believe it was. That same exact text on the crypt. And I was like, oh, and there's my link. I see what you did there.
What did he say? Because now I'm thinking about it, I don't remember exactly what he had said.
So it was something along the lines of, this person should not God, I can't remember your exact phrasing, but this person should not be asked about. Would you be willing to remind me of the exact phrasing, since you have said?
Who are we talking about? Who said this?
It was the text on the crypt back in the manor for Khan, and it was the same exact line that the merchant used, the twins, the foxkin.
Yeah.
Are you talking about the hieroglyphs?
Yes.
No, they didn't say. I do not believe that they referenced somebody that shouldn't be spoken of. They said it was more along the lines of we trusted him, or some regards, using an individual in a non-specific noun. They didn't specify a name. They didn't say that they weren't supposed to talk to them. It was more of I don't know, like his actions caused this. We trusted him. It's he and we are to blame, or some things like that. And then there was one, or if you're talking about the coffin, or the
hieroglyphs on the coffin.
it essentially said it spoke of saying he who lies within, something about a curse, and if released, there will be death or something, or the standard whole don't open up this sarcophagus, you will be cursed crap, and the world
Standard
will be
fare
doomed.
for Tomb Raiders.
Yeah, referencing an individual, or like, he whom, back then it's very different from, it's not that different from saying they whom or she whom, just he whom, the individual within, if they are to be released, those that open that up will be killed and the world will be doomed, or whatever.
Okay. I thought I wrote down the line in my notes, but I don't remember. I might have.
If you can find it and you have the whole line, because I do know I repeated it to you, so you could write it down. We can get back to that.
Yeah, I know you wrote it down because I remember you talked to me about it later. I do think you have that somewhere. But actually, since we have Arch here, and since Ellen, you are here, you and I were the only other ones aside from Fel who sat in for the aftermath of what happened at the end of last Saturday's sessions. So let's talk about the even bigger, well, not even bigger, but the other big reveal of last week's campaign, rather last week's session. The fact that the armor that Felwolf was wearing was blessed by the Black King. So,
yeah.
I will
I think Wolf would say blessed is a very strong word to use.
Cursed probably is more the correct term to use, but it was enchanted by him, and through it, he basically has exerted his will. now of course neither of us saw that. So strictly as players, what? How did you react when Archlord introduced that entity as the Black King?
I was slightly surprised, but I was looking at it like the Anubai were essentially wiped out. There's like very little evidence of them at all, as far as we know.
Mm-hmm.
What we'd heard from Shadow and all that. So I was like, maybe, just maybe, they have some sort of connection to him.
Oh shit! Belial, thank you for the sub to Mecca. Get a tier 1 sub. All right.
Or some other sort of evil could be.
I haven't watched that in section yet. I still need to go back through and watch that, so I currently know very little other than I popped in before I was showering that night, heard something about I am the Black King, and I was like, oh shit, here we go again. I rolled my eyes, turned it off, and then took my shower. I said, fuck, I have to go back and watch that now. I can't just leave it like that, and I still haven't.
Bruh, you need to. You need to fill yourself in. Because with the way that he was presenting himself now, given what we know of the myth of the Black King, the legends tell him to be basically this villain that had that was wiping out the Badlands, and shortly after his rampage, or even during his rampage, is when the sand started to take effect, and we know that Babylon is was his seat, was the seat of the Black King. Now Babylon, as you Shadow and Felwolf kind of figured out. Was it Felwolf? I think actually it might have just been Shadow that figured it out. That it was the place between rooms. It was what was it, the place between earth and heaven or something,
yes.
The earth and the heavens, and with him basically saying that he had unearthed the secrets of the gods and used it to achieve divinity or godhood. I'm like, this makes a hell of a lot more sense of why why Babylon does what it does, because that is the seat of the Black King. And if Arya and I's theory on this holds true, that it is cycling through the different planes of existence, shit like the elemental planes, the Feywild, the Abyss, shit like that. That's basically what we had theorized several sessions ago. I think it was like back in 5 or 6 or something. We came up with that. It came up with that, and so it's kind of leaning, not what I'd initially thought, towards like it's stuck in time, which I mean it is stuck in time. This part of this that Babylon is, but it's not quite so unstable as I had first imagined it to be. It is on a cycle of some sort, on a cycle that is much quicker than Hawk gave us or led us to believe. So and it sucks that I couldn't get like the timetable that the Warforged had, where they were kind of figuring out the cycle in which it appears. But knowing that we can come back to it much sooner than we had anticipated is really nice, especially now knowing as players what we know, and then possibly what Fel might end up sharing with us, may or may not end up sharing with us. Personally, I would like to think that Felwolf would share with the party what he saw, but considering the nature of it, I don't think he will.
That would probably do more worry than good.
It might, and knowing Alora's personal investment in it, he might just it might be it's going to be one of 3 things. He will tell the whole party because he's Felwolf and he wants to inform everybody. He'll tell nobody because he doesn't want to worry anyone, or he's only going to tell me because because the Black King has to do with Babylon, and that's my entire thing. It's gonna be one of those three outcomes. Or he could do none of that and go in a completely other direction with it. I don't know. Well, that would be my my prediction for what he'll end up doing with it.
Well, I definitely know we'll find out this Saturday.
We will find out this Saturday. Good God, it's the waiting, dude. The waiting.
Mention that this
so much.
is a one shot, and I'm kidding.
Oh my God,
Listen, no.
dude, don't even
Can't
start.
deal with him again already. Oh.
We already almost all five of us that were there almost died doing that dumb tower. I'm not gonna do that shit again.
Who said it'd be a tower?
Oh no.
Listen, I'm
You're
not
right,
dealing with fate again. I'm not.
Listen, it's gonna be a beach episode.
I
Damn
am
straight.
I am more down for a beach episode than I am for dealing with fate. Like, all the way. Get me my bikini. I am out.
We're not doing a beach episode until like I don't know 100 subscribers, I would say. I'm not going to fanfare no fan.
True.
Yeah,
That's fair.
true.
But we're at 117 followers.
No,
Not subscribers, not followers.
Yeah, I'm not gonna air quotes derail this the style of the campaign for the I want panties and stuff. No,
That should be one of the rewards.
Well,
One of the
Oreo's
good
got
berries
the
rewards.
midriff going on. Ain't that enough for you?
A beach episode.
You can see my tummy. You don't need any more than that. Well, you can't see it while on the actual stream because it's like just our heads peeking above the bottom of the screen. But yeah.
Oh goodness.
At least it's not like it was when we first got the first colored version.
Oh, let's not talk about it. Let's not talk about that. We don't gotta.
Why not? You don't
We don't gotta discuss that. No, we don't. We don't gotta go into that.
Yeah.
Oh God. Oh, we're already an hour and a half into this. Jeez.
yeah,
All
they go
right.
pretty quick.
I think
goes
we'll probably go another half hour. I'd say. We don't need to go like a full 3.5-4 hours like we did last time.
Any more questions for me from any of you?
Anything I would have to do with Gil, but you're being a tight ass, so really can't ask you anything.
I mean, you've seen what he looks like.
Yeah, I see. He has great eyes now. I know that. We know that now.
Slowly adding features, yeah.
He's like spoon feeding me these little morsels of Gil, and it's like I'm like,
You're
dude.
gonna have to earn it.
You can survive 7 days without food.
Oh my lord! Literally rationing. He's rationing Gil to me. This is a weird conversation. Let's go in a different direction.
Next time the man appears, all right, let's go on a date.
No, huh?
I will ask one other thing, and you can be vague about this because I don't need like a straightforward answer. Was this the original idea, backstory you had planned for Shadow?
Regarding what?
The current one we are on.
Excuse me.
I don't know what aspect of the backstory you're speaking of.
So I know you. You go multiple routes, and you go in high details about it. You've played with Shadow a few times in previous sessions, so obviously you've kind of had time to piece together a few things about him. Was this the original path that you wanted to push down, or did you scrap a few paths along the way? And like I said,
I can say I did scrap one, but I won't say what it was.
that's fine. Like I said, you can be vague. I was just curious about it.
This in some regard was always on the table. It's not like, oh, this is going to be the plot background hook for it. I mean, to sit here and say that there's many, yeah, and then whatever direction the story or the behavior that you had began to take pushed the needle around the table essentially until it landed on one specifically that seemed to work better.
Okay. All right. I'm happy with that. Yeah.
Oh, I have a question for you. Since we're actually well into the campaign, rather well past Oasis at this point, we're gonna go back, way back to
God.
our session 0 and then sessions 1 and 2, regarding a side character I had. You remember Zach? So you are, as far as I've heard, notorious for hating companion NPCs to characters. And given that I had rolled to have a companion NPC, how quickly were you wanting to get rid of that character and find a way to write him out of the campaign? Because it happened like 3 episodes in, and we haven't seen or heard from him since. Obviously, since he's gone back to the West, we won't see him or hear from him in a while. But
I mean, there was 2 options: either they left or they disappeared. Disappeared being a variety of different meanings.
yeah.
And I was like, well, it's session 2. I'm not gonna murk, or it's session 1 or 2. I'm not gonna murk the roll, or else I should have just told you to re-roll it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I'll figure out some way of being able to standardize this. You were not the only one, however, that had something like that tied to their background. If you recall, during that same period of time, Stolen was told by, I know by episode, what was it, 4 when you guys were kicked out of Oasis, or was that 5?
I think that was 4.
4.
4. When you guys were kicked out of Oasis, and Master Hawk told you guys what essentially happened while you were all unconscious. Stolen had somebody sent back to Whitewater.
Yeah.
But nobody's ever talked to Stolen about it.
I had forgotten all about that.
Yeah, Stolen, you were not the only one that had somebody there with them, and then Stolen asked what about, and then Master Hawk immediately said yes, they are too on the vessel heading to Whitewater. They are safe. Nobody's asked. And so, yeah.
Yeah.
Well, there's really not been a good time to, or a need to be honest. I mean, we haven't talked about Zach since then either, so I mean, I feel like it kind of plays in the same reasoning. There's not a whole lot of reason to bring them up, and to just have that come out of them, be like, hey, remember that thing that Hawk said that was really unrelated.
Stolen to have like a personal conversation. So, yeah. I mean, there's the, oh, well, man, he stinks, or you smell like shit, or other things that, he ends up getting into trouble with. And then there's, in recent days, Albert has mentioned that they're being looked for or hunted or something by somebody. Which I know that a lot of you guys were interested in learning about their background, but these things seem to somehow get pushed off or blurred into the background.
So here's the thing about that. That hasn't been talked about since we left.
Actually, yes.
I'm fairly certain it hasn't.
When you guys mentioned there was Auditore. He said something while everybody else was talking.
Well, okay, of course we're not going to hear that. He was trying to speak when other people were speaking, and so we didn't hear it.
I know, but these are things that you got to listen to everybody while having conversation. because you're going to miss these things. Like I do know that Delta and Starfighter as people are not ones to stop and be the center of the conversation very much. So they will say things while there's just conversation, and that will be that it will be a plug for people to hear and catch on to. So
Well, see, here's the fun thing about Discord is that when multiple people talk, it decides it's going to drown out some voices to, to basically give priority to certain voices over others. So sometimes that shit happens.
that's on you then. If I heard them, that's on you because I'm using the same system, and that means the stream heard it. And you can go back and watch VODs to take notes and stuff and go, oh shit, they did say this. So wait a minute. You could do these. I do these things every fucking week. I sit down at some point and watch almost 8 hours of our previous sessions so I can make sure I'm being cohesive.
Making sure that the story stays straight. I appreciate that.
Because I don't take notes during these sessions. I write things down that involve main plot points, and then I keep things noted in my head because I only remember D&D things. Because that's essentially what everything is surrounded by.
Yeah, I didn't hear shit whenever we were talking. And honestly, the way that crap works with drowning voices out, it's different for each person. So it could have drowned them out for me, but not for you. It's wonky as hell.
That's what I always suggest, going back and rewatching things when people are having conversation. Make that a point. Or if you're watching the stream, timestamp it, or something like that for you to go back and listen intently on some things.
That's the thing. I do go back and I listen to conversations. It's not that I don't do that. It's just when I have done that so far for this episode, I have not heard what you're talking about. So I don't know where it is.
There was also another point in episode 2 in which the mention of the name Turn Terror affected Albert, where he came to the room happy and almost gleeful that everybody was fine, heard the name Turn Terror, had this disgusted face as he left. Nobody ever asked questions.
I don't think we saw that because we were too focused on each other.
Well, yeah, but I told him that during a point of the silence, that's what he heard, and he's like, I'm just going to leave the room then. No, but you guys were all in there, and it was on the screen as he walked out of the room, and nobody confronted it.
Right.
Like,
Listen, the thing I'm saying, Arch,
it's not the primary target at the time, which I'm not saying you're at fault for not doing it at that moment. It's small things can be missed to be the aspects that you're looking for. What's one I can kind of do, like how about this, the build up from last session as you were approaching Xiao Niao.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was last session or the session before, as you were approaching Xiao Niao, as the canyon or the area kept getting thinner, like closer and closer together, as you were coming up this pass, this tiny place that would have never been found unless somebody knew where they were going. And you finally get there and it opens up into this big fucking story, essentially. It's how things work. I'm not always going to sit there and force upon you guys, some aspect that is going to be helpful into the future. I'll sit there and players will try to do their background bits or whatever. If you guys pick up on it, you pick up on it. But I will sit here and say everybody at this point, except for one individual, has spoken in some regards about their background, and one individual that hasn't really is Elenan. You know that he's the brother of Felwolf.
That's
it. But what he did really before that, he hasn't talked to anybody about. I mean, that's the one part of backstory that is there that people are aware of. So, I have been paying attention to each of you individually.
Clearly.
Yep.
And some of us have been getting more favorable treatment than others.
Oh, don't worry.
Oh.
I've designed monsters that are mannequins so that I can affect your fears.
Fuck
directly.
you! Fuck you!
I haven't designed creatures like that, but I take note of things that people are afraid of. I take note of stuff that people are very passionate about. That's why when we hang out and we do things together, I learn these things about you guys on a personal level.
I'm
And
convinced that Arch
I'm
is just a constantly learning and evolving AI algorithm that has designed this D&D campaign to learn as much about us as humanly possible.
I
You
am
might be onto
listen.
something.
Machine or mechanically possible.
We can't. Yeah, well, whatever.
You're saying he's an AI?
I have feelings. Oh gosh,
I swear you
No.
act like an AI sometimes.
I do.
Cold
I do.
and calculating.
I am cold and calculating most of the time.
Not even batting an eye that you were about to kill Fel last time.
Listen, it wouldn't be the first time.
It wouldn't be, no.
I didn't do a hiccup. I needed to make sure I did that so that if it comes to light later, that it's like, hey, you fucked this up. And I'm like,
Well,
we're living with my mistake forever, so too bad.
yeah.
It's not my fault. I had to make sure I fixed any hiccup.
Yeah, and I'm glad you fucking did that, because you would have been I would have been not happy with you for a while.
Yeah.
Part of it was an actual hiccup. Like, you just forgot about stuff that was going on.
Yeah, I called for a death save too early. That was the hiccup. And that first fail would have not been a fail. And so I was like, all right, fine. We'll sit there and go the first one. The first thing that he rolled, it was a fail when he was supposed to. The second one was a success. The third roll that would have been after your roll to stabilize him would have been the double failure. And that's what I would have done because like these rolls have already been rolled. I have to change their order now. And so I was like, okay, this is, as I said, this is your last chance. And you rolled the crit. And I was like, good, because that was your last chance.
He was
No,
down to the
lucky
last
crit.
possible second, and like I was saying earlier, I don't know if you caught it, Arch, but when Fel had already used his relentless endurance, and then he got hit again, and he went down, and I thought like he was dead because he was at 0. I was like, my heart literally fucking sank. I felt it break, and then I started crying. I was so like just I was like, oh my god, literally like the one of the the characters that I've saved from the beginning has been one of the characters that I have been most interested in learning about and following through their arc of the story. And now here we're like barely into it, or rather we have this huge reveal, and we're like just getting started with like this big conflict in the East, and then he was about to just be dead. I was like, no, it cannot be like this. I literally was just not like this.
I love how like you guys are like he was wearing this armor. Nobody thought about the armor having any hidden aspects to it. I'm like, but you saw the hidden aspect. It was visible to your person. You just thought that he'd come up as probably a zombie later on.
Well, see, here's the thing: is I wasn't thinking about whether or not the armor would save his life, like it, or rather bring him, back from the brink of death, like it brought the Anubai back from the dead. I wasn't thinking about that. I was too busy like thinking about he's dead. He's dead. Like that's all I was thinking. I was like, he's gonna die. There's nothing we can do. Ellen has to fucking watch, right? And I'm just over here like, it sucked. It sucked. It was a good moment, but it sucked. Yeah, almost watched my brother die today. Feels bad, man.
Oh man.
Pepe.
Not to mention, Vel and I have talked about how much this character like means to him, and it's like
that's another thing that played into it. I was like, we're only 10 sessions in. This character has so much sentimental value to him, and it's about to be ripped away from him because Fel decided to put him in a one-on-one against a dude that was fighting Mao. Like, really? And that's why in this episode title is Dear DM, what the fuck, man? Like,
Yeah, things happen in life. Shit's weird.
Yeah, things happen, man.
Yeah.
Can't
mean-
blame me for all of them.
That's one of those things where I was looking at it, I was like, this guy's high level character kind of thing.
I'm just glad he got the armor and weapon. Otherwise,
Yeah.
where really would we have been right
He
there?
would be dead if he didn't have that armor. And honestly, I said it from the beginning. I'm like, I'm glad he has that armor. He's the one who needs it most. He will gain the most benefit from it in the future. And what fucking happens? It saves his goddamn life. Like,
You know,
I
as
swear.
a player, Arch,
Yeah.
I have to say, this is one of the biggest middle fingers to Fel that you could have done. To make the armor of the Black King save his life.
Oh, you mean as like as a player, not a character?
Totally as a player. Totally as a player.
Okay.
I thought that was fucking hilarious.
I don't know. I wonder if he saw it on about the hand. But you have a question there for you to read.
Bejella's got a question for you, Melody. I was waiting for you guys to finish talking.
Oh.
But Bejella's got a question for you, Melody. Since you are really the only one doing a multi-class, have you been thinking about just how many levels you will put into each level and why that many?
I will say that I already have a blueprint in mind for each class. I will be working with Arch to kind of figure out how that falls into the story. I'm not going to spoil too much about that, but there is a plan in play, yes. As for how many levels in each, I already have all of that plotted all the way to level 20 if we get there. Even if we don't. But I hope that answers your question.
Big if. Because I feel like someone is gonna end up dead before this campaign is over. Like dead. I mean, if last session was any indication, we're gonna have either the most amount of close calls you've ever seen in a D&D campaign, or someone's gonna end up dead, or multiple people will end up dead, or we'll all end up dead.
Well, I'm just glad it's going nothing like my campaign.
Yeah. There are certain moments in which everybody has a chance to
2
die.
deaths! Almost 3.
I almost died in session 3. Yeah, it was the moment when Fel grabbed his dad's wakizashi from the wreck and started the whole like coin sinking shit. And I rolled my nat 1 on my save or my check, and I sank knee deep in the coins. I'm like, okay, I'm fine because I know I can use my wildfire spirit and I can teleport the hell out of here. If I were a single level lower, or if I were any other druid circle, I would have died in there because I didn't have anything really to get out of there. Aside from maybe trying to wild shape into a different animal and trying to, finagle my way out. But that was basically all I had. So
Shadow wouldn't have let you die in there. He already
We were
knew.
also on a timer. We were also on a fucking timer with the door closing in on itself. Right? So, I mean, and Fel was like somebody was trying to hold it open. I forget who, but someone was trying to hold it open.
Probably Stolen.
I think
if
Stolen's
remember
Echo
correctly.
was. Stolen and his Echo were trying to keep it open. But, I mean, that thing is on a mechanism and was trying to, close itself. So, I mean, if I wasn't able to get myself, closer to the door at least, on my turn to the one where Fel could, like, throw me through, I would have been hit by, like, the mummies and the dragon, and I would have died because I was only 24 hit point druid, and I'm only 29 hit point druid right now. I can't take much.
No, it would take one slap from the mummies.
Yeah.
Knowing what I know, it would
The mummies
take
would
one
have-
slap.
The mummies would have
There was no
absolutely
getting
torn me to
away.
shreds.
That dragon is just a middle finger, but a interesting middle finger.
Yeah.
We're going back to Oasis at some point. I mean, we have to. We have to fucking put Khan in his place. Get Arya's sword back. Though that's with Eric now, so we're gonna have to go after Auditore, or at least Eric in particular.
We will see where we go.
And you know what the best part
All I
of
have
this
to
is?
say-
This shows just how deep Khan's like Khan's enterprise runs, because he's got connections to the Auditore, like military, and he, and like this knight captain has, a freaking vampire sword. Question from BitJello, and it's for everyone, including the DM. What has been your favorite story moment thus far in the campaign?
Honestly, mine was this last session. So, I got a quick answer there. I gotta go real quick. I gotta move my truck.
Alrighty.
All right.
Well,
You guys?
what about you?
Personally, I felt like I had a pretty good moment where me and Arya for the first time got to talk on top of the tower back in Oasis. I felt like it was one of those just overlooking the city moments where you could just hear no music and just the winds blowing past as they just had a calm conversation about the city and the corruption, and like they genuinely opened their hearts to each other there for a moment. I find myself often looking back to that scene, and I hope to have more scenes like that.
All right.
What about you, Spaz?
There are a lot of good moments. We've had quite a few. I mean, of course, one of the runner-ups has to be our fight with Khan at his estate. That was such a good combat sequence that we had, and seeing Fel properly in action for the first time was an absolute excuse me, an absolute delight to watch. God, and of course, I mean, personally, I've loved the small moments I've had with both Arya and Felwolf. Like the moments I've had where I pulled them aside, during, just before Night Watch, and having little moments with them there. And then, of course, the entire sequence in the pyramid where, Arya attacked us, and after we all woke up and talked to her. There are so many good moments. I have a hard time picking one, but I mean, I guess if I had to pick one above all the rest, I would have to agree with Eleanor on this one, that this most recent episode, with honestly, like the entire latter half of the session, beginning with the ambush on us outside of the temple, leading all the way up until the end, that entire sequence has probably got to be my favorite bit of the campaign so far.
All right.
You're missing one of our answers, but
What?
also don't have
You
yours.
need to answer
Arch.
it. Yeah, you need to give us an answer.
I liked the ambush. That like 5-minute or 15-minute scene of the ambush.
Yeah, I could definitely see that.
Yeah.
That was a pretty good scene.
Main reason behind it is it showed that your guys' ability to work together without the individual you keep calling the protagonist.
Yeah.
The one, individual that seems to be at the forefront of the journey so far. You guys were able to act in unison together without really having to say anything.
Yeah, I guess that's true. I mean, we already had like all of our minds made up on what we wanted to do. Once we realized we really couldn't do anything to, kill them or push past them. All that there was left to do was take our chances with the cliff, which turned out pretty well. Though BitJello brings up a good point actually here. He says that he was a fan of the moment that Aloria had with Gil in Kinkuma in Fellwolf's city. Yeah, I did like that moment a lot. And now that you mention it, I think it probably takes precedence, if only slightly, over the over this most recent episode, strictly because that moment it was the first scene in the entire campaign up until that point where Aloria actually, has basically that more aggressive and like hardened exterior. It kind of it melts away a little bit, and you get to see just, at least for a moment, the kind of person that she is, on the inside. And it's someone who is terribly broken. And I love that moment because I was like, I understood that a few of the characters, I mean, of course, Shadow specifically, and Melody have been having a really hard time pinning my character. I'm like, okay, hopefully this moment here will be able to show like kind of why she is the way she is to a certain extent. And I was happy to kind of like put away the that coldness for a moment and just have a normal conversation. It's half the reason why I adore the conversations I get to have with Fel as well, the ones that I've had during our, just before our night watches.
It reminds me of a statement you made with Fel.
Mm-hmm.
You two were talking about something. I think it was at the temple, and you said, that's exactly what Gil said.
I said it was something similar to what Gil said. Because he was saying he said something about oh god, I just watched it earlier today. Why can't I freaking remember? God, I can't remember exactly what he said, but yeah, I said you sound like Gil. He said something similar, and I think it had to do with the like the whole deal of like light and darkness in the soul, something along those lines, or rather like finding peace in yourself.
My question for you, to Ilaria, how odd is to see these two different people who are extremely different in every visible way or behavioral way, but the lesson that they teach or the things that they have to say are very entwined.
That's a good one. It kind of how do I put this? So I mean, of course, it was something that obviously stood out to her since she, had the cognizance to make that connection and make that comment about it. So it was something that struck her, and that that concept that they both were trying to teach, that that you've got to have the light with the dark. One can't exist without the other. It's everything that they're saying to her, and then also the moment where Gil, even though it was their second time meeting, Gil was like, "You trust me, don't you?" It was like they're basically everything that they're telling her, everything that they're trying to get her to think about. It fundamentally goes against the what she believes to be the truth of the world that she has learned over the course of the past several years of her life. So it's something that if she wasn't struggling with it before, it's definitely something that she's got tumbling around in her head now. I mean, that's the entire. I don't want to like get super meta, but it has to do with the spacing out that she was doing the morning after. Because it was her just trying to sort everything out in her head, having it all rattling around in there. And so that's why whenever Fel was calling out to her, it was just like, whoop, she didn't hear jack diddly shit. But yeah, it was. I mean, considering that she doesn't exactly know what Gil is, she is kind of working under the assumption that he's possibly something that is from the East, and so he could have these similar values, and it might make sense that way. Like maybe he was, I don't know, some long dead shaman of the Wolf Clan or something. I don't know, but something that has some sort of connection to the East and the way they think and why it's similar to Fel. Or maybe it's just the fact that regardless of the lives that they've lived, they hold those same values. And it's and I mean, as you described Gil, it's like you can see the pain, the exhaustion, what you said, like the longing in his face. So I mean, Laurie can see that this is someone who has seen a lot, who has endured a lot, and the fact that he's saying these things, it confuses her. And also learning of a little bit of Fel's past, learning that he too has lost his mother, and now presumably his father. It's like she, and I said this earlier, in a twisted sense, she sees Fel, and Gil to a similar extent as, and this is like subconscious, not like she's actually thinking about them in this way, but subconsciously, Fel is, the light that Aloria basically cast away, so long ago. And in a way, with her kind of confronting Fel about, the way he feels about his mission, and how he's viewing all of this that's going on. It's basically her. It's really twisted. She's using Fel and Gil as kind of proxies to verbally combat that creeping, that creeping light that she, is so afraid of growing, within her. Because I mean, she told Fel she's not afraid of the darkness in her. I mean, she's accepted it and she understands that, but it's the light that she doesn't understand. The compassion, the selfless duty, the idea, the bonding with other people, in spite of the pain of the loss that will come at some point. She has on both sides that are both like externally and I guess to an extent kind of internally, in Gil, these things that are telling her, the way you're living is it's not healthy for you. But basically she has been so entrenched in that mindset for so long that it became all that she knew was the separation from people, the distancing. And so that's and realizing kind of what Fel is, in a sense, like the exact opposite of her as far as worldview. it's her like basically like I said, it's struggling to keep with the light down around these people who seemingly don't have the same worldview as her to the extent that she does. It's why Fel frustrates her so much. And I mean, everybody already knows how she feels about the idea of fate, and the idea that you don't have a choice because of your whatever situation that you're in. So that's why Fel's mindset, the way he sees things, it pisses her off and frustrates her that he doesn't concede anything. He is so resolute in his worldview and in his beliefs. So it feels like she's fighting an uphill battle, basically. And you'll begin to see it next session, I imagine. But the almost out of character concern that she had for Fel during the final like 15 minutes of the session. That's something that will be explored, because I realize as a player, and I intended it for it to be this way, as something that, of course, the person that she believes herself to be, the person that she is trying to keep herself being, is not someone who would really do that. And now she says she needs these people to fulfill her mission, strictly from a practical standpoint. And so I think that moment will be kind of a catalyst for a lot more inner turmoil than than has been seen out of her thus far.
There's something I think that I need to clear up a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
It was when I gave to you at the very start, when Gil at least showed up.
Yeah.
The gauntlets in which Gil wears, they're Western. They're not Eastern.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so you, at one point during your statements there, you said something about him being, at least from this kind of appearance, or maybe Eastern in some regard, being this area has taught them a lesson, having been from here.
Right. That was me basically just speculating. I was like, that could be a thing, or it could be entirely unrelated.
Well, I just wanted to make sure that I re-informed you that the visual aspects of Gil they're not Eastern. They're not really geolocatable, really, but the gauntlets in which you did notice that he was wearing were from the West.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So yeah, that literally was something I came up with on the spot. I hadn't thought deep about that at all. So all right, and that's something we can kind of throw out. But yeah, that was incredibly long-winded and probably more confusing than it was informative. But yeah, Aloria has been a very difficult animal to tame, as far as like character decisions and emotion towards the other members of the group. I mean, it is. I had intended for it to be this, not wish-washy, but she'll lean to one side or the other sometimes, depending on what's going on. I mean, that's the whole reason why Shadow was telling me earlier that he has no real grasp on like Aloria's like person, not as person, I guess just like default demeanor or personality, and he doesn't have a whole lot to work with in regards to like approaching her, which I mean it's good. It means that I'm playing this as I'm intending it to, though I do hope I'm not going so off the rails as to make it super confusing. It's like I said, she is for good reason basically mentally an angsty teenager, and that's kind of the character that you guys are having to deal with right now. It's an angsty teenager in an adult's body with magic powers and a lot of anger, just a lot of pessimism. So yeah. And I guess I guess now that we're on this train of thought, Shadow, as I don't think we've had you on the talks for quite a while. It's generally been Felwolf, Arch, myself, and or Celia. I think you've been on a couple times, but I haven't actually asked you a whole lot about this. The as time has gone on, as you've seen, Loria kind of, operate in this group dynamic. Of course, first with our heist on Kansas State, the way that she treated you initially was like, be clear with the information you're giving us, or forget that we're doing this. And then to watch her go, and kind of, although it was kind of very deadpan and monotone, in her own weird way, try to, I guess, comfort and like basically logic to Arya, what the implications of what she was doing and how it didn't have any real effect. And then of course the way that she acted with Fel there at the end of last session. I know that you said you have a hard time kind of pinning down exactly what it is, like what her deal is, but what are, as it's developed, what have been your thoughts and how have they developed?
Can you simplify the question? I'm sorry, I was really lost there.
Sorry, I'm trying to find a good way to word this myself. Fuck.
How have you taken the changes that Ilaria has had in the past few episodes?
Yes.
He's kept it in mind. He's not gotten a chance to know her yet, but has definitely kept her in mind.
Kinky.
This being one of those things of, he has done his best to be as courteous and polite to the party as possible, but at the same time he doesn't try to more or less push any information out of them that he doesn't currently need and or they're not willing to share. He's noticed the change, but because he hasn't really gotten that chance to get attached to your character, he's still under the mindset of unsure.
This bitch crazy.
I mean, I don't think he would think that for sure. He just knows that you tend to have a short fuse on things.
I mean, yeah. Okay.
And so I hope that these two get to have a good conversation. Like, that honestly would be something I would love to get behind.
Honestly, I would too. I don't think there have been enough conversations with you from any character, really. Just because, I mean, Shadow brings such a unique energy to the group that the other characters, it's like you look at Shadow, and when he speaks, you listen. He commands kind of this respect from his demeanor. At least that's the way that I see him. So he gives off this air of like understanding, this like worldliness. Kind of think Caduceus from Critical Role. I kind of get like Caduceus vibes from him.
I wish I understood that. I apologize. I am one of the scrub lords who doesn't watch her.
Well,
I apologize.
Others will
Good
understand.
Good content, and I will admit. However, I have not watched.
Well, if you get the chance and you have the time, you should. But that's besides the point. You kind of, the best way to describe it would be, like I said, you have this kind of worldly, aura, view.
Outlook?
It's very grounded, kind of. You're very aware and sensitive to things around you. Like the whole deal with you saying that it wasn't our place to intrude on Felwolf's ascension in the temple, and that him inviting Elenin was because he was family, and that's an entirely valid point, and it was true to an extent. Now, of course, Aloria, being who she is, she's like sure, but it doesn't matter. It's a good point. It's a good point that he makes nonetheless. Like from viewing it from a third person's perspective.
Now, I personally would like to have a few more conversations, but I think the one I am most honestly wanting to have a conversation with right now would probably be a tie between your character and Delta's, because we have not had a whole lot of conversations with him. And
No.
I personally think that is a shame, because he has this sorcerer character that just, it seems to be very quiet, very shut in.
Mm-hmm.
But at the same time, when he does act, he's kind of happy about things. He's kind of like cheery about it. But he's like the silent one to himself. Personally, Shadow's kept a bit of an eye on him. He seems to like him, but doesn't understand him as a few of the members. But I feel like if we can, I would love to get him on here. I know schedules are a thing and whatnot,
Yeah.
but one of these days, maybe.
Yeah, I can probably see about working out something with him, but yeah, Albert and Stolen both. We need
Stolen,
to talk.
what a treat!
We need to talk.
What
to
a
them.
treat!
Honestly, a part of me was hoping that those two would like bond with each other and they would reveal shit about themselves to each other. Because I'm gonna be honest, it feels like through either Fel or myself, we have been like picking at the pieces of other characters and like kind of extracting information from them bit by bit. Like, and I don't know if it's just I have a very poor sense of like when is a good time to talk to people, but I feel like, and it's the reason why I've done it so much, I feel like the only ways I get to talk to people is at night after I've taken a watch, which is why twice in a row I was like, I'm gonna take first watch so I can get an opportunity to talk to somebody because I have questions. Outside of like us sitting around
the campfire, that's a good time.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, sure,
Before we go to watch.
if you're comfortable with talking in front of everybody, which Aloria, of course, is not, especially when it comes to, more the philosophical crap, that's going on inside of her head. I mean, think about it. The only times, she's talked to members of the party, And she's of course spoken with Felwolf about like when we were all sat around the table back at his house. When she was interrogating him, talking to him about the situation that was going on, the Mystery Clan and all the other actual like legitimate clans of the East, what the Emperor was, and what the possibilities of who leads this enigma of a clan could be. It was all very practical things that were happening right then. But anytime she's had any like emotional or philosophical discussion with anyone, it's been private, away from other people. I think the only exception to that would be when she gave the pep talk to Arya in front of everybody, and that was primarily because it was coming from a logical standpoint. She wasn't appealing to like Arya's emotion. She wasn't really trying to pull like a therapist act and calm her empathetically. It was purely a logical assessment that she had of the situation, and tried to use that to basically diffuse the welling emotion that she could see Arya getting then. I feel like that's really the only exception, if it can be called an exception, just because of the nature of that moment. Yeah. But it's, and I've said this before, the way that Eloria is, she's not going to, talk about these things with the group as a whole, or even with the chance that, the other members of the group could, like, hear, like, either intrude or just hear what she's saying to another member, because really the only person that she's had these kind of discussions with is Felwolf. And like I said, that's because he represents the opposite of what she is, within her soul. So, and Arya, you could argue that Arya is also to a lesser extent. There was a little bit of it there when I had the conversation with her after I tried to do my mad science experiment in trying to get her to use her, vampiric abilities. But it's much lesser with Arya than it was with Fel. But the key factor among them all is that they're all separated from the rest of the group, and since we're basically all together all the time, there's not really a good way for her to have those conversations to pick at the members of the group, specifically Fel and Arya, to understand them, because I mean, like she said in last session, it's Felwolf, Arya, and even to a lesser extent Shadow, the way that they see things, and it's like the compassion and the duty and the whatnot, that frustrates and confuses her, of why knowing what we all know about the world is how they can continue to be that way, and that's not something that she wants to bring up in front of everybody, with there even being a chance that someone else might overhear or interject something.
By the way, last session, while we were in town before we kind of headed up the mountain and whatnot, there was a purchase that was made specifically by Shadow, that Jello brought to my attention, and I just kind of want to nip this in the ass before it circulates. This is a different Shadow entirely than the Shadow that, shall we say, lit a forest ablaze.
Oh.
And so there will be none of that.
I see we have some talking points to bond over. No, I'm kidding.
Let's just say that I got away with murder because I had flame arrows and Molotovs, because fucking can. And, well, let's just say I killed a bunch of goblins, burned a lot of forests, and pissed off a Trent. Molotovs, yeah. Because I'm a cat person.
I hate it.
I'm being cheeky.
I hate it.
You're welcome.
Oh, look at those chubby cheeks. Oh shit.
But yeah. But no, I wanted to point that out and say no, bit. I'm not doing that. This is a different Shadow entirely. His mindset is much clearer than that.
He's a goody good boy.
Yeah, more than you know.
By the way, he's not in chat, so you
Oh.
did that for no one.
Rip.
It's fine. It's on the video. It's proof. If he wants to go back and watch it, if you want to watch it, I don't care. It's on there. It's proof.
Rip in
All right,
peace.
it's there. You spoke about it.
Okay, we're good. That's all that I needed to say.
He said the
Alright.
things.
But I think you guys all went over your lores in your introduction videos, or at least a little bit, right?
Not really, no, because with those intro videos, what they were designed to do is they were designed to set up where we were mentally and, of course, physically within the campaign upon its start. So mine was talking about the whole situation with Zach, about how he was basically abducted, right out from under me, and even in that, God, I feel like I'm playing a long game, but even in that freaking trailer, you can tell the start of, basically Eloria's like conflicting emotions about how she feels about other people. I very specifically wanted to set that up there. But anyways, in the other ones, it's like it was Stolen and you guys saved. I think you guys saved Zach in your trailer, right? Or no, you saved him. You saved Stolen in your trailer.
Zach was part of that, actually.
Oh, Zach was.
He
part of
was indeed part of that. That was tied to the whole rescuing several individuals from the Bishtar.
Oh, okay. So you rescued Stolen and Zach from the Bishtar. All right.
That's
Okay.
why we were chased down, and they were trying to beat our ass, more or less.
Yeah, I knew you guys had gotten Zach out of there. I just was unsure if that was the moment that was being shown where that actually happened. But yeah, so that happened during yours. I don't know if you guys actually talked about anything significant to your backstories. You might have introduced each other to introduce yourselves to each other, but I don't think
I
you
was
guys-
being vague and coy.
Yeah.
It's giving information without letting off too many details.
Yeah.
Is the key to understanding my character, more or less.
Yeah, and it's why Eloria got annoyed when they were trying to plan a heist and he wasn't giving us enough. And even then, it wasn't enough when he gave us everything.
The problem was there wasn't enough to be substantial.
Yes, exactly.
That was the problem.
And I can't believe he did that shit so just half-cocked.
Yeah.
I suppose it technically worked out in the end, but not really.
I mean, we still have our heads,
We're
so
alive.
better than not.
I guess we did get the sword, Fel's dad's sword, so I guess we technically won? Question mark. But yeah, and then there was Albert and Elenan, who I think they kind of talked about where they came
There's a little
from.
bit of lore there.
They talked about where they came from, kind of, but not anything specific. I think all Elenan did was tell him like how to cure seasickness, and then they talked for a little bit about they came from Whitewater or wherever, and then why they were headed to Oasis or something, or they were just talking about some bullshit. But I think the one that revealed the most was Felwolf and Arya's.
Well, of course, because it was the fucking longest.
It was the longest, and it was supposed to be longer. There was a bunch of cut content out of that trailer, which
I gave them time that they needed to fit everything in between, and then they went like 4 times over that, and I'm like, all right, this is not what I asked for.
like, this is nice, but we needed to cut it back a bit. But yeah, I don't remember exactly what they talked about. I'd have to watch it again, but I just know that they kind of had a little bit of a heart-to-heart there. So theirs probably is the only one that has the most lore, quote unquote, in theirs. But everything else is more so just setting up how we're in Oasis and why we all end up where we end up.
I have another question for you, DM. And this one I expect a
for you,
vague.
player.
I expect a vague answer or a riddle in return. You are an enigma after all. But my question is thus: with the possible appearance of our new coming player in the near future, possibly.
Spoilers.
Well,
What do you mean spoilers? He's on the fucking poster.
we've talked about this so many times, Arch. I don't even want to hear it. But now, here's the thing: we don't know when, obviously, but is he going to be around the same level cap as all of us, or are you expecting him to be at a lower level?
We'll see.
I knew that was fucking coming.
I've got
I
a
figured I
question.
would
I've got a
ask,
question you could
but
probably
I-
answer.
Possible.
I've got a question we can probably answer. Will he have a trailer?
Depends on how much free time he has.
Fair.
Very fair.
And I'm not gonna rush a person into doing anything if they're not able to, and I'm not gonna put it more on my plate if it's not a guarantee.
Yeah.
Understood.
How much time are we at so far?
We're at 2.5 hours. I was planning on ending it a half hour ago, but if y'all don't have any questions for each other, and if we got nothing from chat, I think
I have spoilers.
we're not doing spoilers.
You want some spoilers? Not for the campaign, but I have spoilers. I have a sneak peek.
I like sneak
A
peeks.
sneak peek at what?
Sure.
I have sneak peeks. All right, let's see here if I can pull it up.
I'm all about these.
Are they things that we can show?
It's more questions that we will have. He's not giving us answers, he's giving us more questions. He's literally doing to, like, us what Oda does to One Piece. He just gives us more questions.
I never watched One Piece.
Well, let me just tell you, you don't get answers, only questions.
Yeah.
If you do get an answer, it gives you more questions.
Before I show this spoiler and we kind of finalize, I have a question. Your guys' impression on the Oda clan. I was not here for it, nor was I really listening. So, yeah, your impression on the Oda clan.
My impression on the Oda clan. Oh man.
They are conniving, manipulative assholes, and deserve no less mercy than what was shown to the one that Felwolf killed.
Okay. I have a different take on that. This is just who I am. They could be more or less the side of the clan that was banished or shadowed, for lack of a better term, because of one particular choice that separated them from the views of others. This view of they did bring the clan together under what they wanted, but it wasn't correct, so they took it a different direction. So they may not be bad people in hindsight, but it doesn't mean that their actions aren't bad in general. So what I think is more along the lines of just a fallen clan looking to redeem themselves in such a way.
Yes, through
Because
genocide and child murder.
So they straight stated that the original idea was not to kill Fel. They weren't there to just murder and genocide. However, when they heard he was coming back, plans changed, actions were taken. Now, this particular individual that genocide and child murder was given free will for whatever, he had his own motives. He's dead now, he can't tell us that motives. But if we maybe look into it, we can find out what's really going on behind that. Who knows?
To connect pieces for you a little bit better, because I do believe you're falling on an off path here. The Oda clan is entirely made out of orcs, who are a family of the Wolf clan.
Mhm.
They
I
call
know
themselves they call themselves the Oda clan because they were the family left open for orcs from the Badlands to be able to join in the Wolf clan. It was the loophole set up by the Beowulf's forefathers that they kind of talked about.
Mm-hmm.
And so instead of falling in line or like into rank and file like the ones that did join immediately, they as Eric said, found better ways of using Eastern weapons. And so you did see during the fight one of them use these Eastern styles as if he was trained by an Eastern individual, but he did not fight like one. He did the common turning that happens in Western fighting, where you keep moving in these circles while you strike your opponent to try to keep open spots and the flow of combat. You would see these certain things. You also saw in the rank and file of their armies Western influence to some regard, which you as players would have recognized, but not as characters. And I know that Wolfassassin here got kind of excited about it, and immediately afterward goes, "Did those guys have guns?" And they did.
Oh dear God, I didn't hear that. No.
And you
I
didn't see
said
the images.
These strange metal tubes.
Oh, no.
They had men rank and file with strange metal tubes, which I took influence from the actual Oda clan and most of the time during that period of Japan, that used matchlock weapons, that used rifles, and whatnot. And so this is essentially that. This is why this is that kind of influence where Eric was like, they've learned how to use Eastern weapons better. They like why the West, or why Eric and his group work specifically with them, shows that these are Eastern fighters that are not stuck in Eastern ways, which is why when the leader of the Oda clan said, whatever we do that you do not prefer us to do as part of the Wolf clan, we will do under the name of Oda clan, because that gives Beowulf's character, and that's a kind of predicament, a deniability, saying that's not my clan. And because they lost a duel, they said, we'll do that. We're not your allies. He's also said that immediately after the fight.
Yeah.
We just said that for now, we are not your enemy.
Yeah, and that's why, we should fucking annihilate
You're
them.
still not in a position where you're able to do that.
Yeah.
You're
No,
the
but
same
we'll
position,
find a way.
if not worse, than the bridge. Because all those men that are down there, but you also have the rank and file in front of the temple that Elanan did attempt to disperse to some degree, but they did not.
They
Give me a second.
refuse an order from a higher up.
They didn't know. They might not even have known who the fuck you were. So they're just like, but that was what I wanted to know, and so that we can allow Spaz to get to Spaz things.
Yeah, my brother's knocking on my door. I told him I would get the fish, but he won't fucking. God.
Let me go ahead and do this.
What are you doing?
This.
Yeah, this. What is this?
You'll find out.
You can yeah.
Oh my goodness.
I don't know if you've established a way to be able to display a screen on this setup yet or not, Spaz.
I have not. I can, like, really quickly.
Oh.
So, I will have to... Oh, shit. How am I going to do this without showing something,
So what you
copyright?
do is you pull it up as a pop-up and capture window, capture the pop-up.
Okay.
I mean, oh no, they know our tags, which is what we go by in here anyway. I mean, ooh, oopsie.
Whoops. Pop up.
Whoopsie
pop up.
doopsie.
Wait, window capture? Make a window capture. Okay.
So on Discord, when you go and you view, make it a pop-up. Just click on the thing that allows you to pull it out. You know, pop out, bottom right corner, next to the full screen. You do the pop out, window capture, capture window, and then you throw it on there.
Oh shit! I did it. I did the thing. Ooh,
Yay.
I need to
Drop that down.
get that. No, that's
You're
that's
capturing your
spoilers.
whole window.
What? No. Wait. You said
Don't
do
worry.
window capture.
Yeah. Okay, so what you're supposed to do is Discord is different. If you go down, you click watch, which I suppose that's what you're doing right now currently. No, you're not. Spectate the image.
Spectate the image.
Yeah, spectate my stream
You're in Discord here.
in Discord.
Okay.
And then you're going to do pop out and then change the window to the pop out. So all they see is the pop out.
With the window capture being the source.
Sure.
I mean, you said do the window capture as a source.
Yeah. And it will capture only the pop out. And when you do that, the other one should change.
Oh, yeah. See, here's the thing about that. My Discord doesn't like pop-outs.
You are so difficult.
What do you mean I'm so difficult? It's
All
Discord
right, let me
that's
fix
difficult
this.
for
Then
me.
go and make the source a picture. There you go.
Okay. Let me delete this.
I guess I'll have to post it in here too. Might as well.
Okay.
I like it.
Picture. Where are you? Image. Okay. Let me download the image. Save image. To Indy. Why isn't it popping? Excuse me. Can
Do it from the one that I just posted. See if we can go
Oh,
to the
you know
original,
what?
pull
I
up the
know
URL and
why.
then display it via URL.
save image as? Yes.
So difficult.
What? Why are you being dumb? Oh, I know why. No, you're dumb. Why are you dumb? Why is it there? I didn't.
Aha.
It was stupid. There! Ah! It is. There it is. I did it. It's popped up on the screen now.
Now it's massive.
Yes. Yes, it is.
Oh my goodness.
There.
Let me
there we
put
go.
it there. It's in front of your face now.
That
Hold on,
is
let
a
me,
sneak peek. Yeah.
Let me
And that
throw
is
this
the
behind-
sneak peek
oops.
of our coming emotes. Yeah. What you should do is
Behind.
position my head
Actually,
over.
there we go. I got it. So now you guys are now in front of it.
There you go. You want to critique those, or
Well,
one of them is for sure changing.
one of them is for sure changing. Interesting.
This is incredible. I love this.
You know, I looked at mine. I didn't like it, but the more I stare at it, the more I love it.
Yeah, it is
because he's
amazing.
just got that face
Yeah.
of really.
And then of course the Stolik. Oh, that's
Oh.
good.
That's great.
That's the
Archlord
face of a man that's seen
facepalm.
some shit.
Yeah, he's seen some shit.
He's
I
eaten
love
some shit.
I love my angry emo. It's a re and I love it.
And then the middle left is Aria.
Yeah, Aria. Oh my god. She got the fangs. And then of course Albert, the freaking derp.
Yep.
The foreshadowing.
Fell going like, why?
Yeah.
That is one that is going to be changing.
Yeah, that's not a Fell thing. I feel like that's gotta be a someone else thing. Fell's the one that
that's
just
an
goes
Alaria
into
thing.
shit. Yeah, that's an Aloria thing.
That's an Aloria thing. And then the top middle is the anime protagonist one, which is turned into a nosebleed.
Yep.
Yep. Okay. I thought that was a scar for a moment, but if that's a nosebleed, that's fantastic.
Nosebleed.
I love how the Y one, it looks like the meme of the Asian dude with his hands in the air and that
Jackie-
face.
it's
Yeah,
Jackie
is that
Chan,
Jackie?
yeah.
Is that Jackie Chan?
That's Jackie Chan, and that's what was the inspiration for it. And that's
Oh,
what
that's so
Alaria's gonna be
good.
doing is the Jackie Chan.
I also love his pose with the katana, the Fell's pose with the katana. It's so good. I love the face
Question
on the
for my
foreshadowing.
second one, the one up top right. What is that supposed to be? I'm
Monka ass
confused.
That's-
face. That's a Monka
You'll
ass.
have to show me this. This is something. I'm not familiar
Okay,
with.
it's sweat. It's like serious or whatever. Like oh shit, that
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I love the face on the
The kind of face
foreshadowing.
you actually made when you're like, I'm the son of the Snake Clan. Oh shit.
Yeah, and then
Yeah, that-
also the face that you made when we encountered the mummies in the 3rd episode. Yeah, that face.
Yeah, no, that's accurate.
Yeah.
As soon as I heard those weren't fucking things but sarcophagi, I was like,
Yeah, so
no!
okay. Don't. And then I love Bell. Bell was like, "Don't you touch that diamond!"
I looked at him and I was like, I ain't setting it off.
Okay, who's
No.
who's the one that's creeping at the bottom? What's the lurk one?
The lurk one is Elenan.
That's Elenan?
That's Elenan.
He doesn't.
He lurking.
Oh wait,
Out
does
of
he
everybody-
have that braid?
Out of everybody, he is the most quiet.
Yep.
Yeah.
And so it's like, I'm not here. And what I picture this being is when he was looking under the desk for his dagger. I
Yeah.
picture that scene as he's coming up over the desk when
Yeah.
everybody's talking about turn terror. Like, what?
Yeah, like. Oh my
Well,
god.
and he would probably know that name.
What?
No,
Yeah, he
he
would.
would know that name.
He wouldn't know that name. It's just more like the fuck you talking about?
Yeah, then it's hard to choose freaking emotes for a character that's.
Doesn't have a lot of things that's happening. Yeah.
I
And so I was like, it was gonna be another thing, and I was
mean-
like, nah, I need to throw Elenan in there. Get at least everybody to have at least one.
Yeah.
I mean, Ellen
Shadow.
has a lot of things going on. It's just his brother's the one taking care of it.
Yeah, Shadow,
his family
myself, and
stuff that's
Fel
going
all
on
have
is,
2. Everyone else has 1.
I think next match, if we get more, should definitely go to the other guys.
Oh, they are.
Yeah.
They are. Everybody.
Yeah.
What I'm going to try to do is make sure everybody gets 2. In the next batch, there's 4 people that 4 characters that only have 1. They'll get another one, and then our newer, whenever they end up joining us, they will fill that last slot.
Okay.
But I wanted to make sure that we had the triple crits and the triple fails.
Yeah.
We got you face palming hard as hell.
Yeah.
And I don't have to have another one because we already have in there the Archie-Woo, which is one that was made for me free a long time ago.
Yeah.
And then the last one is the Dragon Breath is going to have Raid in there, which is going to be Epic Raid.
Yeah. Awesome. All right.
Or I think I might name it Roll for Initiative or something like that.
Oh, that's good.
It will say Raid on there still, but it will just be named something else.
That's clever.
All right.
I love the Arya's all face. That's so good.
It is.
And then the top left is the sheep in a tinfoil hat.
Oh my god, that's what that is. I was like, is that a sheep with like cotton candy on its head? Like, what the hell?
Oh, that's a sheep with a tinfoil hat.
Oh, it's amazing.
That's accurate.
Yep. So I try to make sure everything worked, and I think the most detailed, the best one that came out the best is the Stolik.
Yeah.
Just because it's everything Starfighter wanted, and I was like, all right, I'm making this an emote.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I've seen some shit.
Yeah.
I've eaten some shit. I smell like shit.
I mean, yeah, I've eaten some shit. I smell like shit. That is Stolen's slogan, and it will never go away. Oh my god.
What's funny is it looks like Shadow's just looking at Stolen like, bro, what the hell?
Yeah. Like I imagine, like he's staring
the same thing.
Yeah.
And he's just like, this doesn't impress me, and you're just like, oh fuck.
That's exactly what's happening there.
Like next to it is a whole another picture going on.
I swear, if that emote is not called Monka Shadow, I'm gonna be sad.
Monka Shadow.
Yeah, Monka Shadow.
I was gonna do Shadow S.
No, it's gotta be Monka Shadow. No, it's gotta be Monka Shadow.
Monka Shadow. Okay.
Oh man.
But it's gonna be the ones that will probably be freebies. We already have the Archie-Woo. Is going to be the one that gets slotted as a freebie. The crit fail, the triple crit, the triple fail, the sheep, and the epic raid will be the 5 that will be the free emotes.
Okay.
That you get from just following. They will also be the tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3 stuff, but I haven't decided which one's going to be those higher up slots. So we'll probably just kind of choose which are going to be the more used, what are going to be the more desirable ones, and whatnot. So,
Alrighty.
Of course, I'm assuming everybody's going to want the nosebleed down there as like tier 1. Because there's a lot of nosebleed moments for Felwood.
Yep.
Oh god. Yeah.
So, I think tier 2 we might do the foreshadowing.
Okay.
God, that face on the foreshadowing is just so like unimpressed. It's like, I see this. I see where this is going.
Like
So many times you have audibly said, Melody, I see what you're doing here.
Yeah.
That is the moment the foreshadowing happens. Is like, I see what you're doing here.
Yep.
Foreshadowing.
it literally clicks to me, and I'm like, Arch, I see what you did.
See?
I
See what you
see.
did?
I see what you did, and I am unimpressed.
That
Not
whole
that he's unimpressed. It's more along the lines of
It's like the you son of a bitch.
Oh no. It's Cusco's face when they're about to head over the waterfall.
yeah, that is
Just
it.
knows.
Yeah.
That's what I was like.
Kirky and Cusco. Like, the little waterfall? Yep. Big spikes and spiky blocks at the bottom? Probably. Bring it on.
That is that phase. Bring it on.
Yeah.
Do it.
I feel like for a tier 3, that Stoic would fit perfecly. Because
Yeah, if you're tier 3 in here,
goddamn.
you've seen some shit.
Yeah. Oh my god. I love the Albert. Albert.
Albert.
Brr. His brain go brr. Dude, I can't believe that man sat in a fucking lawn chair and just yeeted magic missiles at things that were like half a mile away. Like he was little Chris Kyle sniping those Rage Fang.
Speaking of After Arch, we need to have a conversation about that. There was something that we missed doing before that we need to go over.
Sure.
All right.
Yeah. That's the sneak peek.
And with that, that's gonna be all the time that we have for tonight. This went actually way longer than I was anticipating. It actually almost hit 3 hours, which I was hoping it was only be 2, but we actually had a lot to talk about. Not the least of which is thanks to my rambling and not even being able to understand half of what I say. But in any case, that's it. So we're gonna be back again this Saturday at 6 o'clock CST with another session of the Epic of Lagalon. And I believe we're also going to be having the Sunday after, unless you have different plans, your horror game stream on Sunday, correct, Melody?
This one I do believe will be the normal time.
Are we doing it
Yeah.
at 7?
7 to about 10, give or take on the time due to what's going on. I will believe I will be doing Phasmo again. However, I am looking for more titles to possibly play to keep it mixed up a little bit.
We have to raid if you're looking for that. We have Famriel or we have Chachi.
Ooh.
And,
Let's hit Chachi. But yes, let's absolutely hit Chachi.
all right.
Okay.
Go ahead and just DM me that, and I can put it in there as a raid.
Nah, I'm already logged in on the account. I can.
Oh yeah, sure. All right, go ahead. Not a problem.
I'm gonna have to remember how it's typed though. Is there any capitalization?
There's no capitalizations.
No, okay.
GRANDMASTERCHACHE.
Okay.
Yeah.
And we are on our way. So, thank you all for joining us. Those of you who sat through this 3 hours of questions, rambling, and geeking out over our new emotes that we're going to be getting. I hope you guys enjoy those a lot. I know I sure as hell am. I'm super excited. So, Archie, just say we were starting at 6 or 7 this Saturday.
6 is our new start time.
Okay, I thought you were talking. I thought when you said we might be starting at our normal time, I thought you were talking about like moving it back to 7.
No, I was talking about the Sunday.
Oh, so for Sunday, okay. So yeah, Sunday will be stream at 7 o'clock to 10 o'clock ish. Will be that time frame. We're getting back at 6 again on Saturday with another session of the campaign. Monday, I don't know if you guys have anything planned for Monday, but I guess if you end up planning something, we'll announce that on Saturday. And then we won't be back with the Wool Gathering for another 2 weeks. We won't have it next week, but the week after we will have one, unless I deem otherwise, in case some really fun shit happens this next session. But
We'll see.
aside from that, go send Chachi some love. They work really hard and have had a run of bad luck recently, so show them some love and support. They really deserve all of it. We'll see you guys next time.
Bye for now.